Hey guys, Griffin here, and today I want to talk about the buff and the overpowered claim and all that good stuff, and how good are ferals now? Are they broken? Kind of just cover that by looking at the logs. I feel like the logs are the solution or answer to a lot of things. They are the antithesis to Sims. Sims is more of a what we think is going to happen. Logs are what actually happen. So let's just jump into this and kind of explain what's going on. So if you guys don't know, Feral's got a bit of a buff, and a lot of people are calling for it be nerfed, and they're saying it's overpowered. But I really want to look at the logs and show that they're not really overpowered. I'm going to be going through each boss individually, explaining why they're performing the way they are and how I think that this is okay. So let's just jump into this and get going. So first, obviously, we're looking at all bosses here. This is I know a lot of people don't like the line chart, so let me change it to a bar chart. I'm going to set 95th percentile. As you can see, we are definitely in the middle, but we are towards the top of the middle, which feels really good as a feral because I thought we would be here all along. I don't think anyone's calling for them to be S tier. Another sign that they're probably not OP. But let's go through boss by boss to get a better idea. So Ignis the Furnace Master. This is a really good fight for melee in general because we don't cast, so we don't have to stop casting, and we can absolutely pump. Assassination Rogues outshine us here, but we do really well. 9500 DPS is the top feral. Very solid, very solid. But again, this is a melee friendly fight, so it's expected that the melee's up here, and you got affliction locks creeping up anyway. But that makes sense too because I don't have to worry about the cast break. But let's jump into Razor Scale, a fight that I consider to be one of the best determinations of a good DPS, based on like parses, not necessarily on comparison to other classes. But as you can see, we are number 7. We are towards the top, but we are definitely not top. We're not breaking everything. And I do want to say that I've seen a lot of screenshots of ferals on top. Yes, ferals can now perform better, but I think it's more of an indication of the rest of the classes that aren't pumping as hard. You're going to see that no fight a feral is number 1, and I think if you are in a raid where your feral is number 1 and you are wondering like, oh, how are they broken, maybe you should take that time to reflect on your own class and be like, hey, how come I'm not outperforming? Because ferals again are not going to be number 1 on any of these charts. Let's just jump to XT. This is one of our best fights. Number 3 behind Unholy Death Knight makes sense, and Assassination Rogues, which again, rogues in general are really good. I know you've got combat down here, but they're going to be creeping up. Assassination Rogues really solid though. But yeah, this is a melee friendly fight. You pop your cooldowns on the heart, you get that extra DPS bump, and you get to see it as much more rapidly than the casters do. So you're going to see this as just melee friendly in general. So yeah, you've got your enhancement, your feral, your assassination, unholy, fury warriors are up here with us. So this is just a really good melee fight. Not surprising to see ferals up here, but also up close to the top. Let's do Assembly of Iron. This one's actually shocking for me because honestly, I guess I should say I suck at this fight. We do a weird strat on mine. Plus, like our tanks are just bad at putting their backs uh to the blue circle, the rune. So I'm always either have to step out of the rune to do damage, or I can't get behind it because they've got it sideways. Seriously, tanks, get your heads out of your asses. But for real, this is really cool to see this because there is a lot of movement. I'm not surprised that casters take a little bit of a beating here. You're running out of the dark rune, you're running, into the blue rune, constant moving, so the casters suffer a little bit, and it gives the melee a chance to kind of creep up here. Really cool to see ferals up towards the top, but again, not the top in Assembly of Iron. All right, Coligarn, way down here, way down here. So I've already created a video calling for a buff on Coligarn. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, Coligarn is just not our fight. We can't get behind the boss, so we're gonna suffer. Most people have moved to the swipe strat, which is really good. I'm planning on making a video on how to position. It's really cool. I saw this. I gotta make a video on it. But we're never gonna be top DPS on Coligarn. We can't get behind him. That's all there is to it. So here we are, way down here. All right, Ariaya. Okay, so we're up towards the top. This one's kind of surprising for me. I thought we'd be either really high or really low. I guess this is an acceptable high. She is single target. We do have to move her a lot. You have to stack on the tank, which means you can't shred. I know it's only for a second, but still, there are AoE mobs at the beginning, and the ones in the middle don't count, and the Guardian is only 1, so it's kind of weird, but as long as you get a good rotation, this is essentially a single target fight. But yeah, let's move on to Odir. Odir, we should be, yeah, we're way down here. And this makes sense because it is a caster friendly fight, very friendly caster fight. So we just can't benefit as much. I mean, we're doing 13k with buffs, but still, like, you know, even balanced druids are up at 20k. You got your fire mage at 25,000. So we're never gonna parse on Hodier. It is what it is. Let's look at Thorum. Okay, so Thorum, another standstill melee friendly fight. So you see Unholy, Assassination, Feral, Affliction. If you guys don't know, Afflictions, when I say like melee friendly, usually Afflictions are also friendly with that too. I know they're not melee, but because of the way their mechanics work, they perform just as well as melee would because, yeah, they don't have to cast, or at least as much. So then, so yeah, on Thorum, very solid. Freya, now earlier in the week, Feral Druids were #1 on Freya. It was a very short-lived victory. I think it lasted for about 2 or 3 days. And then the Fire Mages showed up and said, no, thank you. I appreciate what you did here, but we'd like to take our title back. So Fire Mages here. This is probably our best performing fight though. #2 is definitely solid and it makes sense because of the mechanics of Freya. Essentially, Freya has two styles. You're either single targeting or you are AoEing, and you're never trying to do both at the same time. And that's when a Feral can shine. Ferals can do good single target and they can do good AoE, but when there's like a boss with like a secondary AoE and we have to like switch or move, and we suck at that. But this is actually really solid. You can build up your combo points, your survival, or sorry, your Savage Roar on Freya, and then when the ads pop, you can just do whatever you need to, swipe or whatever, and not have to worry about Savage Roar because you're just maintaining it through Freya. Really powerful rotation for us if we hit everything right. So yeah, it's really cool to see us up towards the top on this one. And Memoron, this one I think we're middle. Yeah, middle of the pack, which makes sense. This is a semi-caster friendly fight because of the head. However, the casters also have a lot more runaway time, whereas we just stay under the boss most of the time and can avoid it. So it's kind of a balanced fight for casters and melee. Like melee have to deal with some stuff, casters have to deal with other stuff, and it ends up balancing out. And it's pretty good to see us even towards the middle here. I think we definitely struggle, you know, as just as melee in general, but as you can see, they don't seem to be too concerned. This is a really good, interesting fight because it's got so many different like mechanics that affect different classes in different ways. But let's look at General Vessix. Now we're never going to top parse here. This is a caster friendly fight by a lot because of how the mechanics of the fight works, but still we actually perform pretty well in the non-benefit phase. Survival hunters are out there, so we're actually top when it comes to melee, which I think is pretty cool. We're still not obviously top of anything because there's, you know, 9 people in front of us, but maybe 10, whatever. As you can see, we still can pump on a fight that doesn't benefit us at all. General Vessix is a standstill fight though, and that's where we do shine. Let's look at Yogg-Saron. This is actually, I hate this fight. I decided this is my least favorite fight. Feral Druid is in the middle of the pack. I'm not sure what counts in Yogg-Saron. Do the ads at the beginning count? Because that would suck for us because we have to run out. Do the ads and phase 2 count? That sucks because we can only hit 2 out of 3 of them. The brain definitely is going to count. What about the ads that are in the brain room? I guess all the melee would suffer from that, or everyone that goes down. And then at the end, are you putting more time into Yogg, or are you focusing on the ads when you turn around? Maybe that's a factor. I don't know. Either way, we're in the middle of the pack. We're definitely not outperforming a lot of people. And finally, Elglon, which we are #2. Great job. This is definitely a melee friendly / affliction friendly fight. Mainly because everyone else is running around doing a bunch of stuff, and we're just standing on Elglon's butt, switching legs from time to time. Obviously, we have to run out for the big bang, but everybody does. So here we are shining. Obviously, we're not #1. We are #2 behind Assassination Rogues that are still outperforming us. But this is a really good. So this is really good positioning for Ferals. We're not #1 at anything. We are solidly behind. We're solidly like just behind other classes, and I think this is cool. Like that they were able to buff us without overpower. Like if we were Unholy Death Knights level stuff, I would be a little concerned. But a lot of people, they have a mental thing. They see their damage meters mid game, and they're like, "Whoa, Feral Druids are pumping." And yeah, like I said, it's probably not Feral Druids pumping. It's probably Feral Druids pumping and other classes underperforming. Yeah, because if you guys don't understand feral druids, the rotation was already complicated before. They just simplified it, and they essentially took the gloves off so we can do our rotation much more easily. And because of that, a lot of ferals are going to be able to do a very good rotation 95% of the time. Like, so because all you've done is made the rotation slightly easier for us. It's like taking the training wheels off. Like, we know how to ride our bike, now we can fly. So yeah, this is definitely a good sign. I don't think ferals are overpowered. I think they're in a really good place, and I hope you guys can see this as a net gain for raids. People aren't bringing 3, 4 ferals, maybe 2 now. They might bring a second feral if they need a fill. I don't think any comp is building a 2 feral comp. Like, if you're like, oh, let's build the perfect comp, you don't throw 2 ferals in there. You bring a second feral like when you can't get a second rogue, or your hunter's sick, or like your ret paladin doesn't show. Oh, we'll just bring another feral, which I think is a really cool place for ferals that have never been before. They've always been kind of like, no, we have our one feral, that's all we're bringing. And I don't think you're stacking them. I don't think you're bringing 3, 4, or like I said, the 2 is kind of like a, okay, fine, we'll do that. So yeah, guys, I hope this at least clears that up. I don't think ferals are all of a sudden overpowered. I think they are in a very solid place, and I hope to see some progression, especially going into phase 3. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, take care.